G'day. Today we're taking a look at the Neurum Creek camping area in Diagula National Park. Not to be mistaken with the more commonly referred to Neurum Creek Bush Retreat, which is a privately owned campground at the other side of the national park. And it's far more upmarket with hot showers and running water, bike tracks, and it often has live music. I'd also recommend this one for a more luxurious camping trip. The Neurum Creek camping area is 5.5 kilometres from the Gantry day use area along a rough dirt road. Now, if you have a two-wheel drive car, while it is possible, I wouldn't recommend it. Depending on the maintenance, the ruts in the road can be quite deep. The area is national park, so you will need to do all the usual things: book online, print your tag, and bring your own firewood. The camping area consists of 13 bookable, isolated campsites and 2 overflow campsites, just in case your neighbours are a little rowdy. Campsite 1 is quite large, has a tap, a nice elevated tent pad, but it is the furthest away from the toilet facilities. Campsite 2 has a large car park area and is relatively secluded. However, if you do have inconsiderate neighbours in site number 1, it may take the shortest path to the bathrooms, which is directly through your site. Campsite 3 has a small car park, really only big enough for one car, and a small camping area. However, it is probably one of the more isolated campsites in the area. Campsite 4 is probably my pick for families. It has a long double-length car park and a large camping area. There's also a tap nearby, and you're reasonably close to the toilet facilities as well. Campsite 5 also has a reasonably long car park, but a small camping area. This ground, like 3, is also reasonably isolated, being on the far side of the campground. Campsite 6 has a double-length car park, but the area is shared with Camp 7. Now, it's a very tiny camping area as well, and it's within metres of Campsite 7. There really isn't a lot of privacy here. Unless you're camping with the people in Campsite 7, I would not recommend Campsite 6. At Campsite 7, as mentioned, the car bay is shared with Site 6 and is also quite long. You could fit 2 cars in easily. It also has a nice sized camping area. Just to be warned, if someone does book Campsite 6, they'll be very close by. Campsite 8 has a huge car park that's big enough for 4 cars. You could turn up with your rooftop tent, your gazebos, and still not even need to use the camping pad, which is also a decent size. Campsite 9 is pretty much like Campsite 8 or 4. It's not quite as isolated from 8 as the other sites are from each other, but it's still quite nice. Campsite 10 is a nice medium-sized site tucked away in the trees and reasonably close to the amenities. Campsite 11 is the last campsite on the left-hand side of the track. It's quite large, plenty of room to park cars and pitch tents, has a tap as well. It's probably one of the most popular spots. I don't think I've ever come here and not seen Site 11 booked. Campsite 12 is also a nice sized site and reasonably separated from the others. Campsite 13 is a more open, medium-sized campground and probably the second closest to the bathrooms. As I mentioned before, there are 2 overflow sites that can't be booked. Rangers allowed me to move to one of these on the occasion that I booked a Site 6 that was within metres of a large group in Site 7. They said that these 2 sites were reserved for such occurrences. The amenities block consists of flushing toilets, male, female and disabled. Nice difference to the usual long drops you find in national parks. There are no showers. The campground also has a really short walk and access to the creek. Now the walk's a loop, and if I said it was 1 kilometre, I'd be generously estimating. It's really short, but it makes it great for young kids. Now the creek at this time was quite dry and basically was just a puddle. But if you want a great place to swim, the Rocky Hole is 1.7 kilometres from the main entrance to the campground. Well, that's it guys. I hope you got something out of this review. If you'd like to see some more of my content, hit subscribe, hit the bell notification icon. And until next time, get outdoors and enjoy what nature has to offer.